here we are at our ESL COP. Let's get back into it. We are going to introduce everyone. I'm going to call them out, and then they're going to give a little introduction after we see all their names. So representing ESL Literacy and ESL Level 1 is Irene James, who works at Slauson, among other places. For ESL 2, we have the wonderful Natalie Paniccia at North Valley. And then we have it for ESL 3, we have Suzette Cuseo, also at North Valley. And levels 4 through 6, Mr. Josh Ike at Ava. And then your central office support team, the wonderful Marjorie Schneider, Miss Sophia Mayoral, and me, Robert Prock. If we want, would we like to hear, I want to hear some voices. Who wants to go first from our team to just introduce yourself and give a connection to reading?
I'm going to try my best.
Okay, Marjorie.
I lost my voice. My name is Margie Schneider, and I work with Bob here at Central Office. I'm the ABE advisor. My areas are reading, basic language arts, and math.
Can you push the button for me? Because the light's not changing. Thank you.
Okay. Where was I? Okay. In 2009, I was trained.
Oops, sorry.
Okay. In 2009, I was trained in evidence-based reading instruction through Project STAR in Washington. And we started to initiate evidence-based reading instruction here in the Division of Adult and Career Ed. And I began with my level 6 students. And I created this really interesting ESL class because these were very high level 6. And I started to include evidence-based reading instruction with them. And then slowly I moved from ESL, which I had taught for years, all level, into ABE. And I'm reading. And that's probably my specialty, even though I've run II labs and taught teacher-directed ASC courses also. But I did love teaching ESL, but I have to admit, I especially love teaching reading because you're giving these folks another chance at life. Okay? And I hope we can do a little bit to share some of these strategies with you to start focusing on your students' reading skills as well.
Thank you, Marjorie. Yeah, we're lucky to have her part of our team. Who would like to go next up from our team here? Josh or Suzette, Sophia, Dr. James?
I can go.
Okay, Josh.
Hi, everybody. Josh Ike, Ava. My connection, well, I'll just tell you a couple of interesting things about reading. I've been lucky to have had the opportunity to work with one of the masters of teaching reading, Guillermo Verdin, for a number of years. I was the ESL 6 teacher. He was the reading 1 and 2 teacher, so we had to work very closely together. And boy, oh boy, did I learn a lot from him. And I think a lot of what I learned from him is a lot of what you're going to see in this COP in the next few weeks. And another thing is that I participated in the CalPro reading pilot PD that they did, which was great, but I was only able to apply what I learned to my classroom. And I love the opportunity to be able to see how all of you are going to apply these to your classroom so I can compare what I'm doing with what you're doing and steal all your great ideas.
Thank you, Josh. Like a thief in the night.
Good
Who's
afternoon.
next?
Oh,
Dr.
good
James.
afternoon. I'm Dr. James. I am at Evans and Slauson. I have been here at Slauson since 2012 and with the district 26 years. I got a chance to take the reading class and I learned tons and tons in the reading program from Mr. Guillermo Verdin. And I use those strategies in my ESL classroom. And some of them I also use them with the literacy group. So it's not just for the upper levels. If you do attend those trainings, you can apply those to the ESL levels as well. I love reading. I read everywhere, anywhere. I got a BA in comparative literature in English and Spanish because I love to read, and I encourage my students to read in whatever language as long as they're doing it. Thank you for coming this afternoon.
Thank you, Dr. James. Who's
Okay.
next? Suzette.
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Suzette Caseo. I teach level 5-6 here at Rinaldi, the level 3 and the level 2. And we're very, very fortunate to have this leadership. Margie, Dave Coleman, and of course, Robert. And I also was somehow came upon teaching reading, learning how to teach reading last year, and went through the training, the EBRI with Margie and with Guillermo Verdin, and it totally changed not only my way of teaching, direct and explicitly, but because of the intensity of the training, those strategies stick with you. And as Irene was saying, and as Josh and everyone has alluded to, you distill from that, and you'll find techniques that you can use automatically and tailor to any level. So, and also I hope that you stick with this, and as Josh was saying, we can learn from one another. But it's the reading does change their lives. Being able to read does open doors. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette. Natalie, are you able to unmute?
Yes, I am. Hello, I'm Natalie. I teach levels 1 and 2 at Rinaldi and at North Valley. I suppose my expertise would lie in Schoology. I do create Schoology courses for our EL Civics co-ops. So there's a lot of reading involved there, and digitizing and making sure that we are assessing student reading ability through Schoology. To be brutally honest, I would say that reading is probably the language skill that I neglect the most in my classes out of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. So I am excited to learn alongside all of you what I can. And just a fun fact, because the professional facts can be a little boring. When I was a child, I read just about every book I could find on unicorns in the youth section of the library. So, lifelong lover of reading.
Unicorns, yay. Thank you, Natalie. Sophia, I don't know if you're able to unmute.
Yes, can you
A
hear
quick
me?
introduction, yeah.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Sofia Mayoral, and I am a teacher advisor here at Central Office. And I love reading, but it's one thing is to read, and another thing is to be able to teach reading to the students. So I'm here to grasp wherever I can and be able to use it whenever I teach another class. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sophia.
Mm.
Okay, good.
You're
So now you
welcome.
know that we're all on different levels here, and this kind of matches up what we heard from our facilitators, what you guys responded in as far as your reading experience, as far as teaching reading. And it was like 50-50 of you said, 50% said, you know what, I kind of have a good set of tools for teaching reading. And then the other half of you were kind of like me and saying, you know, I don't have the full expertise that I think I should. I'd like to learn more. So we're right there. We're all here together learning. So hopefully by the end of this year, remember, this is a whole year project that we're pushing for a variety of reasons that we're going to find out later. But it's a year-long process, and probably even further. So if you feel like you're here as a learner or you're an expert, thank you. We're going to learn from each other. Let's look at our agenda. So we did our objectives. We're going to talk about this year's ESL COP focus. Then we're going to look at the reading rubric. Then we're going to look at some reading comprehension strategies. We're going to collaborate to implement these strategies. And then that's it. We're going to close shop, sign in, and give us the next steps. So Marjorie, I forget, were you going to read the
That's
objectives?
yes, that's
Okay.
me. And before I forget, we'd like to ask that if you have questions, to put them in the chat. I'm manning the chat, and then I can send them on to Bob. Thanks.
Thank
So
you.
the objectives of today's session are the following: identify the purpose of this year's COP, identify the parts of the reading mastery learning rubric, identify strategy 1 from each rubric category before reading, during reading, and after reading. And you may have had a chance to look at the rubric. It was sent out to you several times. Hopefully, it's starting to make sense. Number 4, apply 3 strategies to sample CASA steps readings. Plan strategy implementation in your ESL classrooms and prepare for
4-4.
a January success without the S. We're
Without
doing
the
very
S.
well, Chef Bob.
Yes,
A
we edit
January
like
success
crazy.
share. That's a fancy way of saying evidence. Evidence.
Thank you, Marjorie.
You're welcome.
And let's look at our students. So when you were thinking about what your favorite reading was or what reading you do the most, think about what your students would say if they answered that question. Let's keep them at the center. We're going to go to a breakout room and you're going to respond to the following questions. Do you know if your students are able to read? And how do you know? Okay, so 2 questions. Do you know if your students are able to read? But how do you know? What is your evidence? You're going to select a report. I'm going to put you in groups of 4.
I have the groups ready, Chef.
Oh, you have
them.
them ready?
Yes.
Woohoo! So Margie's going to put you in these groups. Talk about this for how many minutes were we going to give them on this one?
Excuse me. This is an 8-minute activity. 4 minutes in the breakout room, 4 minutes to share as a group.
Okay. Several techniques, some informal, some more formal. I like to hear that you guys are taking into account, your students and maybe possibly being embarrassed, but reading out loud, listening to them read is a good way. We've had other or indirect ways, as in educational level or their primary language ability to read. So these are all really good ways to quickly see if your students can read or not. Purpose here. So we're trying to create an ESL reading culture through this co-op. Just by having these shared goals, talking about all these things that we're sharing about reading, collaborative learning, shared language and practices, equitable instruction across the division, student and program success, and we want evidence of that. And this is a district goal, reaching paired reading and learning benchmark goals. So our primary goal this year is to consider our best reading instruction practices and those presented in the general session, this ESL COP. We will meet every 2 months to share ways we have been including reading comprehension strategy instruction. We're going to focus on which reading comprehension strategy were your students taught to use? How did your students respond to using the strategy? What evidence did you capture of your students using the strategy or strategies? So this evidence part we'll talk more later. We really want to see your students in action. And that's one of the things we're going to be asking for, okay? So we had a robust discussion that started in our ESL COP Schoology group. So please make sure you go to this group. There are resources here. The discussions are actual places of learning and archiving what people have been talking about since July. And there was a really good, interesting thread about vocabulary that Brana and Suzette and Oksana had with Dave. So if you haven't been there already, please go to the Schoology discussion. You don't have to go there now, but it's just a great place to look and learn. So we want to calendar, communicate CASAS and EL Civics dates with our students. And these are the district level goals. We want to improve paired scores by 5% over last year. Who could tell me what paired scores means?
Pre and post test
Yep.
concepts.
The same
Post
scores,
test.
basically, they stayed at the same progress level.
Well, they just took a pre and a post.
Right, okay, yeah.
Pre and a post. We want to use the new mastery learning rubric, reading mastery learning rubric. And then we want to improve
can
our
you just tell-
benchmarks.
Bob,
Yes.
can you just tell me where I can find that rubric? I think I
We're going
saw
to share it to you short. We're going to share it to
Okay.
you
All right,
in a moment.
thanks.
Yeah. And we want to improve our reading benchmarks from CASAS and the EL Civics co-apps by 5%. So Paul's here, so he's really into that, right, Paul? And we want to teach the before, during, and after comprehension reading strategies. Give feedback with the rubric to celebrate and target skill building. And then teach students to read using the rubric to gauge their progress. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is the rubric that you guys are talking about. We are going to explore it. Okay. I'm going to share it with you in a moment. We're going to first go into small groups, look at it, explore, share your thoughts about the rubric with each other. That'll take about 10 minutes. The next activity is going to be an individual activity where you get to give your feedback on it because it is a work in progress. And you're going to do that on a Google form, which I will share. And that'll take 3 minutes. And then after we start getting the results in of your feedback, we'll do a summary together as a whole group and look at what we think about this tool. Together.
I just want to say kudos for working on this. I find it very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, work in progress, and it's you guys. You are the practitioners. You're the construction workers using this hammer. We want to know, do you want a different handle? Do you need a different weight?
I want to
I
get
like
a handle
it.
made of gold.
I think I'll use it.
Yay, here we go. Woohoo, 48
A
responses.
different
Now,
nail.
let's look together. So we've got a lot of ESL 1 we can see coming in. Again, like Josh mentioned, you can pick a level if you teach multi-level. Here, will this rubric work for your level? Yes, 77%. 23% no. Okay, I like it. Why not? Yes, it will. It needs to be simplified. A lot of words, lengthy. Students will have a step-by-step rubric for them to use, like a student score sheet. I like it. All right. Let's get to the pie charts. I like pictures. Are the text features, boxes, colored numbers, bold words, icons helpful? Look at that, Marjorie. It's overwhelming. 94%. I was surprised by this one. Love it. Joe Labritz, let's just have 2 of you. Is that okay, Joe Labritz?
Yeah, just a quick burning question. What the heck is that stool picture? What does that mean?
The stool.
It's a table.
It's a table.
in
What
the
is,
room.
I don't get the,
Let me
What
You
does
want
it
me
rec-
to explain it, Chef?
Yeah.
when we're trying to help students understand that reading is always about something and an author always has something to say about it. He also provides details to help you understand more about that idea. That idea is called the topic. And what the author says about it is the main idea. And the legs are the details that are used to support that main idea. So we use these visuals and students like them.
All right, you know, and I teach writing and I'm a professional writer, but I've never seen the stool thing, so I
Yeah.
didn't get that at all. So, okay, thank you.
Let's take one more comment and then I can have the hands raised, put it in the chat. Let's do Stephen.
Are we, this is a burning question for me. Are we still going to do the CASAS listening test, or will it be like we'll have a step reading test and a listening?
There will be a steps listening. There will
Okay,
be.
because that one is hard to
Hard.
teach too.
Yeah, that's
I'm-
that's going to be next year's focus is listening.
Okay, so they're gonna come up with a new listening set.
There's a CASAS
okay.
steps listening.
Okay.
All right. So Rika, thank you for putting your hand in. Put your question in the chat. Let's move on. You guys, I love this conversation. We could go on and on and on, but let's move on because now it's time to I'm going to show you how you're going to use this tool. Another tool we created that's for the teacher supports for the rubric. So we're calling it the strategy supports tool. Okay. So we're going to see how to develop supports for the 3 strategies to assure student ownership of their reading comprehension skills. So there are 3 categories. You notice the before reading, the during reading, and the after reading. Okay. And you guys are going to be working with this tool as you come up with your own strategies. And then finally, when you are going to implement your strategies in the classroom. Okay, so I'm going to just walk you through this. I put in purple here my answers or my supports. These are just examples. You guys are going to be doing this in small groups in a moment. But there's the before strategy, and then there are 3 teacher supports. And right now we're just focusing on the first category of the before strategy, which is I can see or hear the text well. Remember, this also goes for it's a listening rubric, but right now, of course, we're just concentrating on reading. So I can see the text well. And I'm so glad Marjorie had me put this asterisk thing in here because it's really getting ready for reading. Then there's the actual before strategy. So we're thinking about accessibility issues too. So I put in identify students who may have problems seeing. How do I know this? I notice they're wearing glasses, maybe they're squinting. I want to support them by sitting them close to the board, close to me, and make sure that the lighting is adequate for them so they can actually see what they're reading. This is for in class. Number 2 follows up on the lighting issue. Make sure my room has adequate lighting. I used to have a room where the fluorescent lights would flicker and they were annoying and they kind of made you want to have a seizure. So I made sure that my real struggling readers were in a more constant, nice, easy to use, easy to see light. Okay. Sometimes that is as easy as opening up a door and having natural light come in. If you have a window, making sure there's enough ambient lighting coming in.
Unless you work at AFOC.
Yeah. If you're in that dungeon, good luck. And finally, this is more an actual before strategy. Well, I guess Margie would consider this totally getting ready. Is have you prepared the appropriate materials? Are you just giving them something that's illegible that is a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy? Prepare and be intentional and thoughtful with the materials you're giving your students, because there's nothing like getting something that you can't even make out the letters, or the font's too small, or the contrast is horrible, or the paper is just a see-through paper. So just think about these things. Okay, so these are examples. Marjorie.
I just want to explain that these are tools. These are reading comprehension strategies are tools to help students make meaning of text, audio, or video. Okay, they're just tools. Okay.
Thank you. So that was the before strategy. And as you can see, maybe you guys are already thinking about this stuff, maybe you're not, but I gave you 3 examples. You can think of some on your own. Now we're looking at the during strategy. During the reading, the student is engaged in that text. I can tell or show where I am in a text. So this is the first category in the during strategy. How will we ensure that our students are focused and engaged? And how can they tell us? How can we see that they can tell us or show where they are in a text? Well, an easy one is have students point to where they are in a reading. Use a pencil, use your finger. Where are you? That's an easy way, a quick and easy way. You're walking around your room and you can have students following the text as they're reading by moving their finger or pencil along with the text. So I gave you one. You guys are going to come up with some other ones. And the third strategy category is the after. This is after the reading is completed. And this is where, again, we're looking at the very first category, which is number 1, I can answer questions about the details and main idea of the topic. Okay. How will we ensure that students can answer level appropriate questions? Well, ask students WH questions about specific details from the reading, right? That's a tried and true technique. You guys are going to think of other ones. I want to also have us look at the final category over here. This was, Natalie had a good idea to also consider on what day or date, when are you going to use these strategies? This is kind of thinking a little beyond, like when the actual implementation part. Which reading are you going to use? What kind of text? And then what evidence will you capture? So just consider this last category on the right as you're coming up with your supports, because we want you to start planning on how to implement this. This is not like this brainstorm session and then, okay, I'm done, forget it, go back to, my normal way. We want you to implement this stuff and show evidence with pictures and videos if you can. We want to see pictures of this happening so that we learn from each other. So I would go to File, make a copy, and now I have a copy I can write on, okay?
So in this consider column, when you're thinking about when you want to implement this strategy with students, what reading you want to use it with, and what evidence to capture, we have this little silly picture.
There's a little, who's that little boy?
And that's to tie back to the road.
It's the gift.
The RRR, right? Because
oh my God, that's the
we
gift.
think of rigor, we want to think of giving a gift to our students that they are able to read rigorously. And so when you're capturing the evidence of your students using the strategies, it's like you're capturing them opening up that present on Christmas Day.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for reminding. So Marjorie was mentioning the whole idea of a tool and toolkit. So keep in mind, regardless of the class you teach, we can use these reading comprehension strategies with any leveled reading. These 3 strategies you will be teaching your students are tools which we can adjust according to the difficulty of a picture or a text. Okay. So now we're going to continue working in breakout rooms. And let me explain what we're about to do. In your groups, you're going to brainstorm, write down supports for each of the 3 reading comprehension strategies, right? The before, during, and the after. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is you're going to choose a sample CASA steps text between the NRS levels 2 and 5, and we'll share that with you. You're going to focus on a before strategy, number 1, a during strategy, it says number 2, Number one we want.
It's number one. It's all
Yeah, number
number
one.
one.
And then after strategy number one. And so together in your groups, brainstorm, write down teacher supports, kind of like the examples I showed you in purple, to help students learn how to use these 3 reading comprehension strategies. Okay. So the goal is we want the students to take ownership of the strategies and start using them on their own, right? If a student comes in your class, they know they're struggling, they know they need to move closer to the board, they need to move underneath the nice light, don't sit in a darkened corner. So if they can start doing these things on their own, that's a good start, okay? So now here are the tools you're going to be using. The strategy support checklist that I shared with you, we'll share it again, and sample CASAS questions. Okay, right. There's that link in the chat for the sample questions. And by the way, I put a handy dandy little NRS level correlation because it's still confusing. NRS level 1 is what ESL level?
Literacy.
Literacy. It's not ESL 1A. This is not beginning low. NRS level 2 is beginning low. NRS level 3 is beginning high. And then level 4 is intermediate low. And finally, by NRS level 5, it kind of matches our
You
numbers.
want us to pick one sample out of that 55-page document, basically?
If you choose to, you can think of your own reading text, right? This is just if you want to use one of these CASAS.
Right, but we don't have to use a specific one. We can pick
No,
one we want.
from your level, okay? But I went into some groups and I saw tons of work beyond what we were imagining you guys would be doing, like 10 strategies per before, during, and after. So I applaud everyone. Tell me, what did you think? We don't want to spend too much time, but do you think you're getting some useful ideas? You can just nod your head or shake your head.
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
It was
definitely.
I got a few other ideas from other people and I don't know if they got some ideas, but it was good.
Okay. So here's the last part of the big ask. All right. Uh-oh. So prior to our next January 12th COP, hopefully before the 12th, we're going to share. This is the sharing part we really want. We want evidence of just one strategy that you and your group came up with, and a little piece of evidence of you using, actually your students, using this reading comprehension strategy with a text, okay? And we're going to do it in Schoology discussions. And this is how it's going to look. We're going to have 3 discussions, a before discussion, a during, and an after. A before strategy, some evidence of a before strategy, evidence of a during strategy, and then evidence of an after strategy. So here in the discussions, there's a before reading strategy, during, and an after. And the before, we're looking at accessibility. Okay, let's look. Here is what it looks like. This is from my class. This is a level 1B class. The reading they did were ID cards. Strategy was the before strategy. I can see the text. If you notice, the pictures of the students sitting near an open door had better lighting. The lady with the glasses, I noticed from day 1, was having a lot of problems. We paired her up with Araceli here, who is a little more advanced reader. So the strategies I did before was get good lighting. let her sit in this perfect prime location by the door and paired her up. Okay. The result was she was really interested. She was engaged. She persisted, even though she was a struggling reader. Araceli, on the other hand, had no problem, is now, I don't know in what CTE class, went through all the ESL levels. Here was the reading text they were doing, an ID card. Okay. Now, does that matter? Was that what exactly they were doing during this before strategy? No, but we want you to be intentional about what text you're using. Okay. So here are the instructions. In the comment box of the discussion, you share your evidence, just briefly state level, teacher, school, type of reading strategy used, the result, just like I showed you, and then upload a picture. And Natalie showed me this in the group discussions. You just have to click on these little options at the bottom of the comment box, a file, a link to something, or an actual recording. Okay. So that's the example of what we want you guys to do. We want it done in this Schoology discussion group, discussion, because we can all see each other's work and share. Okay. So that's the before. If you want to see another example, you could go to the during. There's another example. ESL 3, they're reading a form. The strategy was during, I can show or tell where I'm in a text. They were reading a fitness application and they just pointed to where they were in the text. See, she's using her pencil. And this was the actual reading from the CASAS steps. Okay.
We
Are
can
those
use
your
EL Civics, sorry, we can use EL Civics material too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Are
Ron,
those real students or Google images?
real students. Those are my students.
So we should take pictures of our students and upload them.
Yes, yes, please use real students. Get their permission. Remember, this is in-house. Technically, we're not sharing this with the outside world. We don't need the full media release form, although that would be great for liability reasons. But let them know, hey, I want to take your picture. Okay, here's the same lady who had the reading problem. This is the after. I can answer questions about details of main idea. They were reading job ads, and they were just asking each other questions about details from those job ads. You know, which job paid more? What phone number do you call if you want to be the office worker? Stuff like that. Okay. So again, those are the examples in the Schoology discussion. Okay. Is that kind of clear? Josh.
On behalf of my fellow AVA teachers, since we're not physically in the same rooms with our students, could we upload a picture, say, of our Schoology page? Because our strategy is to make the text large and monochrome. And so we can take a picture of that. I can't take a picture of my student reading it, but I can take a picture of that.
Love it. Love it. If you wanted to have a student, take a, take a selfie of themselves with, anything. We just want pictures, you guys. We want to see it. It's just so much easier for us. We're busy. I want to see what my co-teachers are doing in action. And this is an easy, quick way. If you want to go above and beyond and start doing videos and all that stuff, that's great.
We're doing that anyway.
Yeah, you're doing that anyway. But let's just keep it super simple, focused on these strategies. Picture, boom, short description, upload, yay. And then we're going to build off this throughout the year. Brana, you still have your hand
Somebody
raised?
made a comment about Burlington. There's also that English in America on Burlington, which is EL Civics based, and there's plenty of nonfiction type stuff that you can use from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And core.
Okay, so we're getting close to our time, so let's share upcoming events. The next COPs, they're always Friday, 1 to 3. The next one's January 12th. Put it on your calendar, then March 1st, and then May 3rd, we'll wrap it up for the year. We also have a 4-week intensive coming up in March, where we're going to take even deeper dive, if you so choose to, into reading strategies for our ESL students. Okay, we'll give you more information later. The tools and extra support we want to give, we want to keep supporting you through Schoology, especially this discussion, seeing what we're all doing. And then we do have some other tools that we want to share, and we'll be sharing that throughout our time before our next COP. And then again, we'll start. Brana?
Do you
Oh no,
have
Irene.
do you have office hours where we can meet with you and show you what we want to post?
Yes. So my office
For
hours
those-
are just whenever you want. I'll open up the Zoom if you just give me an email.
So just
Okay.
write you in advance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gary knows we'll meet, we'll just email me first. Okay. And we'll set it up. Okay. Margie and I, we thank our teacher facilitators, Josh Ike, Natalie Panicia, Dr. Irene James, Sophia Mayoral, Suzette Cuseo. Thank you so much, you guys. We're going to keep leaning on you throughout the year. And then teachers, we love you. We absolutely thank you. It's a lot of like anxiety around all this reading and the new CASAs. So we feel your pain. We're here for you. We'll keep supporting you. And thanks for coming out. This was beautiful. The beginning. We thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.
And so we,
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for everything you do.
Thanks, Rika.
Gracias.
we sign in.
We love you, even though we hate the new CASAS test.
That's good.
I
You can
don't
hate me along with it if you need a human representation of it.